If we violent, I guess that's because we scream and fight back. It's more than one way to fight back. It's more than one way to skin a cat. We want to let you know why we're here. We have a list of speakers. We wanted to get started right at 8 o'clock. The obvious reason that we're here is to still spread awareness to the federal investigation into the killing of Brother Kendrick Johnson. We'll talk more about that, but as it approaches the 17th month of the federal investigation, we felt it's important to make sure that Kendrick Johnson's name is at the top of the list when Black Lives Matter is being screamed. The second reason that we are here, this is a 2015 Loudoun County graduation ceremony. Absolutely, that's great. Yeah, let them see the pictures of Brother Kendrick. I repeat what Mrs. Johnson said on social media. While those are inside having a joyous graduation celebration, he's out here having a damn round. There's something seriously wrong with that. 3 reasons why we're here. 2 reasons, but 3 reasons as far as the graduation ceremony. We would not be here today if Lowndes County High School and the Board of Education would have done the correct thing in simply honoring the life of Kendrick Johnson. We had 3 demands. They don't like when you say demands, but I think that the family deserves the right to say a demand when they send their child to school with a book bag and then he's wheeled out in a body bag. 3 simple demands. 1 minute of silence. 1 minute of silence at today's graduation ceremony. The reason being, to this day, there has not been 1 minute of silence in the walls of Lowndes County High School, nor has there been counseling offered to Kendrick Johnson's peers. Students from across the country involve themselves in tragedies that sometimes take their life, and they at least get a moment of silence and counseling for the peers that have to deal with the loss of their loved one. Not to mention that Kendrick died on the grounds of this facility. 2, an honorary diploma in Kendrick's name. They say that that's not policy. Well, I think we really need to look into changing the policy when it comes to giving a simple piece of paper to a family to acknowledge the loss of their loved one. Number 3, Kendrick's older sister, Kenyatta, 2013, 2013, shortly after Kendrick's death, was denied the right to participate in her graduation ceremony right here at Lowndes County High School. Was denied the right for her scholastic achievement. Was denied the right. Mr. and Mrs. Johnson have now been denied the right of 2 graduation ceremonies. So we wanted Kenyatta to accept this honorary diploma on her brother's behalf. Are those outrageous requests? No. Are those outrageous requests?
No!
Are those the requests that any civil parents or family would like for their children and loved ones?
Yes!
We want nothing more, nothing less. A white life has no more value than a black life. A brown life has no more value than a white life. A white life has no more value than a red, purple, polka-dotted, fuchsia, whatever other color exists in this yet-to-be United States of America. So since they could not perform the 3 simple requests by this family, repeat after me. We gonna do it for them.
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 Somebody pull out a timer, brothers. There we go, 60 seconds. Got it. Moment of silence for Brother Kendrick Johnson starts now. do we need it? Now. And when will we have it? Now. And when do we want it? Now. Mr. Johnson. Thank everyone for coming out. All right, more than Johnson family. We put in 2 requests to the school. To give Kendrick an honorary diploma. Both times we was denied. They say they don't normally give diplomas to someone died before graduation, but they never had a kid to die on their grounds. So that's 2 totally different reasons. He died in the hands of Lowndes County High School. Yes, sir. How can a kid leaving one class, going to the next class, disappears? Ends up in his high school gym the very next morning. They said Kendrick was the only student in that gymnasium. But little that they know that we found out there was a classroom, the very next class was in the gym. Kendrick's books were sprawled all over the floor. Yes, sir. His shoes were sprawled all over the floor. So you mean to tell me someone from that class, the very next class, seen his books and shoes scroll over the floor and they didn't pick them up? Not only that, that night, the janitors came through. His books, his shoes scroll all over the floor. Nobody didn't think to pick it up. So that let you know right there that he wasn't there. He didn't get into that corner until sometime that night when they took him to that corner. And they denied for Kendrick to get his honorary diploma, which he died in the school's hands. Yes, sir. But we here today to honor him ourselves. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We had this high school diploma made up in Kendrick's name. And we will honor Kendrick Johnson ourselves. All right. And since they denied my daughter to walk in her own graduation. Yes, sir. And we wanted them to let his sister receive his honorary diploma, and it was denied. But not right now, because we gonna honor him and she gonna receive it still. All right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Allahu Akbar. Yes. Allahu Akbar. And we want to send a message to Lowndes High School. You will always have blood on your walls. Yes, sir. Until you do the right thing. Yes, sir. Right. A kid cannot go missing during school. He wasn't on the corner. He wasn't in the woods. He wasn't running with gangs. He wasn't nowhere selling drugs. He was at school where he was supposed to be, doing what we all want our kids to do. Absolutely. Go to school, do what you're supposed to do in school, and then when something happens to our kids, we all got to demand and for them to tell us exactly what happened to our kids. Absolutely. Don't tell 5, 6 different stories. Don't continue to change your story. We all kids should have a right to go to school and return home safely. And if we can't simply do that one thing, we can't continue to be in the greatest country in this world, in this nation. We can't. Kendrick went to school, very happy. And then he never returned home. Kendrick never, even once, was out of place. He always done what he's supposed to do. He didn't have a record. The very first day, they tell us, you know, we don't even have a fingerprint on your son. Right?
Yes, sir.
Everybody we talk to, they tell us that he was a great child. Right?
Yes, sir.
He was very humble. Right?
Yes, sir.
Well, we're going to do a drug test on him. They did a drug test. He didn't have no, they came back and said, well, he has no drugs in his system. You don't have to tell me that.
Yes, sir.
And yet it's still, you have a great student, a great child, don't have a record.
Yes, sir.
Never been in trouble at school.
Yes, sir.
But once, he was doing what he's supposed to do, and he still denied justice.
Yes, sir.
These are some of the outrageous things that happen here in this county. But we feel that this investigation is going in the right direction.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
But it's sad when you got the locals won't do what they're supposed to do. But we're going to honor Kendrick Johnson today. We're going to celebrate his graduation as he was here. And we want to thank everyone for coming out and standing with the Johnson family. Thank you.
Whoop, there it is. Whoop, there it is.
KJ Means!
We got to fight back!
KJ Means!
We got to fight back!
Y'all do a better job and show your appreciation, show your love, show your support for this father standing on the outside when he should be on the inside. You know, they call that buzz in the field, a military term, when you have choppers hang over you, messes with the audio, right? Hopefully one of these decent officers can communicate with the chopper and tell them to back off just a little bit. You don't think they will?
Just did.
You know, before I bring the speakers up, people are very upset about us being here today. People are very upset about the Johnson family, myself, and you coming to this grounds today. They're very upset because they say, do not mess up a joyous occasion. Well, if it was their dead son, I wonder what the hell they would do. We're not here to mess up a joyous occasion. We're here to shed light that the brother you see on these posters should be receiving his diploma just like every other student inside of there. I saw in the news report the other day, there was a young lady that said her sister was graduating. Did you see this report?
Yeah.
Her sister was graduating, and she wasn't sure if she should if her niece should be able to come. The reason being was she just wasn't sure that it was safe. Did you see that report here in Valdosta? Well, the funny thing about that is, that's to suggest us as being violent. When the truth be told, we are standing here today because of a dead child on their school grounds. Go figure. Who is the violent ones here? We talk about good officers. All officers aren't bad. We talk about good people in the community. All community people aren't bad. Well, the problem that's happening here with Kendrick Johnson is the ones that claim to be good are not speaking up for what they know is a killing and a cover-up.
All right. Speak it.
See, this ain't rocket science. The time is now across the country to make those that be uncomfortable in the places that they feel like are they safe havens.
That's right.
There
The
it is.
time is now to make justice stand in the face of injustice, no matter where it might be. No matter if it's in ATL, Georgia, or Valdosta, Georgia. For those that travel from ATL, they call us outside agitators. That should not only make those of us from ATL to feel a certain kind of way, but it should make you here in Valdosta feel a certain kind of way. It's as if we have to come from somewhere else to take care of business that they claim you're scared to do.
Whoop, there it is. Whoop, there it is.
Necessary troublemakers.
And you know the funny thing, if you happen to come down from this way to my left, I see more officers and patrol vehicles that existed in Waco, Texas.
Talk about it.
Oh, wait a minute. You already know all this is tied together and systematic. You didn't understand that the protests that go on in Ferguson, the protests that go on in Baltimore, it causes curfews, the National Guard. But you can have a group of white thugs, a group of white hoodlums. Oh, this is what they call us. This is what thuggery and hoodlum activity is. Shooting, maiming, looting,
Killing.
the killing of 9 people. This country, this yet to be United States of America,
Over 200 injured.
is willing, the powers that be are willing to put officers in danger in Waco, Texas. Why do I say danger? You have motorcycle gangs that have announced that they are on the way to take care of law enforcement. But yet you have a heavier police presence at the Justice for Kendrick Johnson rally than you did initially in Waco, Texas. Please repeat after me by saying something's wrong.
Something is wrong.
Something's wrong.
Something's wrong. Real wrong. Dead wrong.
Now I understand they got snipers and things on the roof of that nature. They have beefed up security, but is there any curfew that's been set in Waco? Is there any curfew that's been set in Waco? Is there any National Guard that's been set in Waco?
No.
Well, Brother Coleman, again, what does this have to do with Kendrick Johnson? Because if you take 200 yards down that road, there is a very intimidating police presence, but intimidating only to those that are timid. We didn't bring no fluff and no puff and no timidness with us today. We want to thank the legal observers that are in the house to make sure that there are no violations of civil rights that are taking place. Let me say this. That deserves a round clap. That deserves it. Let me say this to the officers that are listening. This is never an attack on your department as a whole. We're going to let the federal investigation weed that out. Those of you that claim to be good, we know that there is a cold blue line of silence that exists.
Yeah.
The reason we can stand here so firmly because we know righteousness and justice is on our side. Truth be told, many of you privately have expressed your concerns for what happened to Kendrick Johnson. But that's the key problem here. Privately expressed your concerns. If we are to have good law enforcement here in this country, it is time for the ones that claim to be good to break their silence and turn in your brothers that you know are diluting the potency of your profession.
Preach. Preach.
The brothers from the FOI are here for their disciplined military type of mindset and tactics. That should let you know we have an appreciation for law enforcement, but only the good ones.
All right.
We fight against injustice and crooked law enforcement vehemently,
All right.
no matter where it is. And it just so happens to fall right here in Valdosta, Georgia. Valdosta is Ferguson.
That's right.
Repeat after me. Valdosta is Ferguson.
Valdosta is Ferguson.
Valdosta is Ferguson.
Valdosta is Ferguson.
I mean, in more ways than one. We didn't get what we wanted in Ferguson when it came to arrest. But you know what we got that some people like to overlook, but I want you to understand the importance of it, and the legal minds in here understand it. We got a report from the Department of Justice confirming that there is corruption and criminal activity running rampant in the city of Ferguson. Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't make us jump for joy, because you would think if we have that intelligence, and I don't mean smarts, I mean literally have that intelligence, there should be something done about it. But the first step you got to do is document this criminal activity. 17 months. The federal investigation into Kendrick Johnson continues. Answer this. Have you ever heard Mr. or Mrs. Johnson or any member of the Johnson family or myself speak out about why is it taking so long? Have you ever heard that? No. The reason you don't hear it is because we are confident that agents are in and out of this city like ants through grass. How do we know this? By your conservative talk radios here in Valdosta. How do we know this? By word of mouth by the locals here in Valdosta. This is what they say. We are sick and tired of this administration blowing this out of proportion. The funny thing is, they've even started to turn on their own. I'm starting to hear negative comments about U.S. Attorney Michael Moore.
Whoop. There it is.
See, Michael Moore looks like them, talks like them, lives in areas that they do. But because he has been methodically and surgically performing this investigation, now all of a sudden they're getting a little nervous. Now all of a sudden they're starting to attack the very system that they used to believe so much in. I'll say this before I bring up the other speakers. We need you to pay attention to the Kendrick Johnson investigation. Michael Brown, Eric Gardner, Tamir Rice. Shootings go on and on, killings go on and on. We haven't accused law enforcement of having a hand in the killing of Brother Johnson. But you sure best believe law enforcement is entangled with the corruption and the cover-up of Brother Kendrick Johnson.
That's right.
All right.
Law enforcement.
So we gonna stand right here for them. We gonna stand right here for them. Last comment before I go and bring up some other speakers. The parents of Tamir Rice, the parents of Michael Brown, and the family of Michael Brown, and the parents of the other names that I have rolled off, at least they know who is responsible for the killing of their child and their loved one. Kendrick Johnson, we've got missing evidence. We've got his clothes that have never been found. We've got all 10 of Kendrick Johnson's nails cut down to the point of bruising. We have that ridiculous, bogus story given by Sheriff Prime, calling this an accident before the autopsy was even performed. I love the young folks saying, where they do that at?
Where they do that?
Go ahead, brother.
See, their arrogance turns into ignorance. That ridiculous notion that this brother just crawled into a mat, got stuck, suffocated, and died. We have these surveillance camera footage that has miraculously or mysteriously, whichever way you want to look at it, has hours upon hours of blacked out footage. We have Kendrick's remains being exhumed, only to have a second autopsy contradict the first. These are the facts, gentlemen. This is not rhetoric. These are the facts. First autopsy, positional asphyxia, suffocating under his own body weight. You hear some of the experts that are connected to law enforcement running through this town telling you how that is possible. You gotta understand, Kendrick was upside down for an amount of time and the blood rushing to the head. Just, hey, listen, hey, man. Hey. Sometimes it's just time to break it down to the real. Sometimes it's time to be outside the line of politically correct. Their child is no longer living.
Right, that's right.
Second autopsy said blunt force trauma. Coroner called to the scene at least 6 hours late. The funny thing about that, he tried to retract his statement, calling CNN saying, please don't air what I stated. It didn't work. We've talked to certain people in this city here about the coroner being called 6 hours late. They say, yeah, we understand, that's not normal practice. It's illegal. Every gray area they have justified or belittled. Some of you might say, well, Brother Coleman, wait a minute. The second autopsy was blunt force trauma, but what about Kendrick's hollow shell of a body? Missing every single organ in his body, tongue and windpipe removed, only to be stuffed with newspaper and magazine articles. The report came out that said that is not illegal, but it's just not in best practice. Well, I think as the black community, we're sick and tired of always not having the best practice.
Absolutely, absolutely. We pay taxes too.
We want nothing more, nothing less. If it was their families, the ones that are walking behind me now, they would appreciate the fact that there are those that are willing to stand in the face of injustice.
All right.
We want nothing more, nothing less.
God bless.
So, we're going to keep this thing going. There's a lot to say. We have just not too many speakers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 speakers. And then those of you, we want you to be able to stay for the 1 p.m. graduation celebration at the Elks Lodge. Before I pass this mic, I received a number of threats and very racist calls. So law enforcement, please make sure, as I was asked the question by media, do we intend on provoking any violence? Ask these individuals that are walking to the graduation that same thing.
No, it's intellectual violence.
We come here in peace. We're peaceful people. But this ain't the 30s and 40s and 60s. We're not doing sit-ins and getting spit on and getting punched. It ain't that kind of party. We're lawmakers, we're judges. I know some aren't necessarily pro-government, but this stings some of them. We actually the president of the United States of America, yet to be United States of America. We are in positions of power and influence. Our elders that fought through the civil rights movement have given us this platform. Now, young fellas, young sisters, it's up to us to run with it.
All right.
Speaking of elders, let me bring up a gentleman who is 78 years of age. A gentleman who has been on the battlefield longer than my little narrow behind has been thought of. A gentleman who does more work globally than probably the president of the United States of America. And I don't mean that facetiously. Brother Joe Beasley does work all across the globe. So pay him the homage, give him the love, and give him the respect for wanting to take that drive from Atlanta, Georgia, to come right here and stand with the Kendrick Johnson family.
Rainbow.
Thank you, Marcus, and to this family. We're standing with you. There's no point in being redundant on what Marcus has talked about, the dysfunction here in Lowndes County, Valdosta. Valdosta has been dysfunctional for a long time. But not only Valdosta, we're living in a dysfunctional system. And let me say a few things about the dysfunctional system that nobody really don't want to talk about. we get to the heart of our matter, we have to go all the way back to the transatlantic slave trade. They brought us here to the United States. The sole purpose of working us to death in the field. We were simply a commodity, not a human being. They lied and still lie up to this day. And have no doubt that you're not valued the same. Whites and blacks are not valued the same. So we have a very dysfunctional nation. Unless we begin to start talking about it, then something really bad could happen. Now, I've been in a lot of demonstrations all over the world, as Marcus suggests, but I've never seen such an armed camp. And all of these cars, all these police are not here because they love us. And the sheriff been courteous. But we have the police team. Okay, police team has been courteous, but they really would love for us to get out of line, so-called line. Yes. But we're living in a very dysfunctional system that, unless it's corrected, there's going to be some serious consequences.
Yes, sir.
When you bring a people into a group of people, African people, into this hostile society of ours, and then in this United States work us for 246 years for nothing, and then one day we get the Emancipation Proclamation, and then finally the 13th Amendment signed. They say you're all free now, but you're living in a capitalistic society without capital, without access to capital, and you're in trouble. Now, what we see going on here in Valdosta is happening not only all across the United States, but of course, the United States is not the only place where there are black former slaves. Go, for example, Brazil. I'm in Brazil all the time, and most of the slaves went to Brazil. We have a Ferguson in Brazil, in Salvador, Brazil, almost every week. They don't like us. And nothing we can do about it. We're black people. And we're living in the United States. But we're African people. And when our kids when they come to school and pledge to a damn lie, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and with liberty and justice for all. That's a lie.
That's a lie.
That's the first thing. And when they have our kids can look around Valdosta and they know that it's not liberty and justice for all. Some people got a bunch of money, others have no money. And if you live in a capitalistic society, and if you don't have access to legal capital, you're in serious trouble. So I would suggest that the so-called barons of industry, corporations, need to get involved. And some of the white people, I think one of the things that have been one of the great mysteries to me, I grew up on a plantation in Fayette County. And we had white folks just about as poor as we were. But the only badge of honor they had, they said, well, at least you're white. And so it's been these people, this white privilege. Now, all white people are not bad. There are a lot of good white people. But the fact of the matter is, white privilege means a lot in the Western world. And so we're living in the age of information. You know, this is an I-6. I can ask Google anything and it spit it right back out for me. You can't live with all these lies that have created the so-called United States. And I somewhat disagree with Mr. Johnson about how great it is. If it was a great nation, it would take care of its people. And so we've got some big things, global things to do. And I'm not tired yet. I'm going to be out here, and we're not scared. We are not afraid of these cops. So I'm going to stop now, but we have some serious problems, and they're not going to go away. We've got to start talking about them. And but for Kendrick Johnson, I mean, they don't even pass the smell test. How stupid do you think we are? They don't even pass the smell test. What a damnable situation. And so, thank you, Martin, for championing the cause of the Johnsons, and thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, and the Assistant Brothers for your courage. And know for a fact and for a certainty that we're with you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
KJ Means got to fight back. KJ Means
Got to fight back.
KJ Means
Got to fight back.
Kendrick Johnson Means
Got to fight back.
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 Let's do some teaching real quick. I like to use their words against them. Valdosta PD was one of the first PDs, if not the first in Georgia, to be armed with body cams. Those nice devices that you see in the middle of their chest, they are recording your every move. To my local activists and activists worldwide, what was reported in the paper was that they will be recording your every move and will release it, legal advisors, they will release it to the public. So next time there's a controversial shooting, release those body camera videos.
Whoop, there it is.
So you try to change the laws and tweak it to get us, and it ends up catching you. If you do that, there's no argument here. If you do that, there's no rebuttal here. What's good for the goose
Good.
is good
Good
for
for the gander.
That's right.
All right.
I bring the other. So that's important now.
It is.
They have reported they will release
They said it.
police evidence,
They said it.
police video footage of this peaceful protest. Let me teach real quick before we bring up Queen K. The brothers from the nation. Anybody ever heard the name of Minister Louis Farrakhan? You heard the name of the minister? Well, 20 years ago, I went to Washington, D.C. for the Million Man March. Raise your hand if you went 20 years ago. Brotherhood and reconciliation was the thing. This year, the theme is justice or else. Justice
Or else.
or else. Or else encompasses a whole lot. Why am I bringing that up? Not just because the brothers from the nation are here. The date of the 20th anniversary of the Million Man March is 10/10/15. Somebody look around at these banners and look at Brother KJ's birthday. 10/10/95. We are celebrating the 20th year of the Million Man March, and on that day, Brother KJ should be 20 years of age. I've had communications with the minister and student minister, Abdul Sharif Muhammad, and we want to send our condolences. The brothers are supposed to be with him down in Brunswick for the passing of his mother, but they felt the need to come here and stand with us. So we're looking forward to standing with the minister on 10/10/15 for justice or else. KJ Means!
Get right back.
Queen K, come to the mic.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Let me not stand on the sidewalk before I get arrested. But firstly, I just want to thank everybody for coming out because it's early in the morning and we should be able to go inside and see KJ's sister accept an honorary diploma. But instead, we're out here trying to still spread awareness and to uphold this young man's name. I want to just give a story first. So I asked someone, so what do we do this time? Because It seems that when we come to Valdosta to uphold Kendrick Johnson's name and use our freedom of speech, we seem to always get in some kind of quote-unquote trouble. And the brother told me that the best way to defend yourself in any situation is to call on your ancestors.
Very good.
Call on your ancestors to protect you. Because no power arm, no law in the books, no documentation can overpower our ancestors' power. So I want you all to take a minute to just feel the presence of our ancestors here with us right now. Embrace their power and make sure that you look everybody in the eye so that they can see how powerful you are and that you're here and you mean business and that you're here to do the right thing, to uphold a young man's name who was killed in the custody of his school. The Johnson family send their child to school to learn and to be protected. And that didn't happen. So we now need to utilize those energies and those powers that are given to us and tap into those powers and use that. Use that. That is how we will be protected. Because the last time we were here, we were ambushed and 5 people were arrested. But what we did wrong was that we didn't really tap into our ancestors to protect us like we did the first time we came. So tap into that. Know that you are powerful. Know that no matter what anyone does or how anyone tries to dictate how you move throughout your life, you are in ultimate control of your life. You are in ultimate control of your life. No one can decide your destiny. You are fully responsible for that. And the fact that you are here, you are taking that into your own hands. We heard a lot of things coming down here, but instead we decided to do what we knew was right, despite what we were told, despite all the idle threats, despite people putting fear into us. We still came because we know how powerful we are. We are capable of tapping into that power of our ancestors, and we know that being here right now today means something.
Yes, ma'am.
It makes Kendrick Johnson's death mean something.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's not make his death not mean anything. This is the beginning. This is the beginning. What is happening in the world today is supposed to happen.
That's right, sister.
It is supposed to happen, and we have to make sure that we are positioned enough to know how to deal with that. And the best way to deal with that is to tap into your ancestors.
That's right.
They have the power, they have the tools, they know what to do, but it's up to us to connect to that energy, to that spirit. And if you don't know how to do it, take a minute right now. Close your eyes if you have to. Breathe in, inhale, and exhale. Feel the wind. The wind is our ancestors touching us, letting us know that they're here. Letting us know that what we are doing means something. Feel that. Know that. KJ's death did not go in vain, and we will make sure that it doesn't. I want you all to continue to be brave. Continue to do what you know is right. Continue to fight. Continue to talk about the injustices going on. Because no matter what, good will always, always, always win. over evil.
All right.
Evil lies can only last for so long until the good crushes down on that. And that's what's happening right now. So kudos to you for tapping into your power. I want you to continue to feel that and invite that spirit with you throughout today. Because no matter what and how calm things look, we are in Valdosta, Georgia. It is sick here. It is evil here. There were 3 simple requests, and they were made simple for a reason. To show light onto the racism and injustice and toxic energy going on here. So keep that in mind. There wasn't outrageous requests on this graduation today. A diploma, his sister to accept the award, and a moment of silence. All things less than $10. So continue to tap into that energy, people. Continue to utilize your ancestors, because they left things on this earth for us to tap into. Our pyramids, our mounds, utilize that energy that is left here on this earth for us to utilize. Good will always win over evil. Stay blessed.
All right, all right. All right, my beautiful sister.
For my young folks,
I'm doing love it.
in the spirit of those protesting and uprising all across the nation, in the spirit of those that are willing to stand in the face of evil, young folks, y'all know what time it is. We ready. We ready. We ready for y'all. We're ready, y'all. We ready.
Say what? Say what?
We ready.
Say what? Say what?
We ready
Hey!
for y'all. We ready.
Say what? Say what?
We ready. Say what? Say what? We ready for y'all. One more time. We ready. Say what? Say what? We ready. Say what? Say what? We ready. Yeah. For y'all. Awesome new day. King J.B.
We got the fight back!
Brother B, step to the mic. Good morning.
Good morning.
I can't hear you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Listen, I'm not going to be a very long-winded speaker. I came here from Atlanta, Georgia to support this family. I'm a public speaker for a living. I make my living running my mouth. And I can't tell you guys how important this cause is to me, because if you really stop and think for a minute, everybody say it's bigger than you.
It's bigger than you.
I can't hear you. It's bigger than you.
It's bigger than you.
This don't sound like the group that's represented all over the internet. Y'all make more noise on Facebook than y'all do out here.
They do.
If you scared, be quiet.
Facebook popping.
If you scared, be quiet. That means make some noise.
Make some noise.
Make some noise. Let me say this. I'm amazed at how huge this school is. I live in Atlanta, so a school's like on every block. I cannot believe that as big as this school is, as much presence as I see up and down this street, and from what I understand, it's only like 2 schools here, that no one is speaking up from this school system, from this county, from this district, on behalf of this fine young man. That's why you gotta understand something, guys. It's bigger than who? You. It's bigger than you. Let me prove it to you. At least 20 of my friends asked me if I was scared when I came down here, Mr. Johnson. Am I scared? Have the Johnsons been scared?
No.
Are they afraid?
No.
Does any Johnson you know look soft to you?
No.
Have they been out here every single day?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Who am I to be afraid of? God got my back. God got yours too. Am I right?
Right about that.
I'll prove it to you. Never forget this. Let's deal with the facts. Kendrick's brain was removed, but his memory was not.
Speak on that, babe.
That's a fact. Kendrick's heart may have been removed, but his spirit was not.
Tell it.
Speak on that.
Is that a fact?
Yes, sir.
Right.
See, you can take the organs, but what you forgot is that you replaced all his organs with some facts.
Yes.
His birthday is 10/10. Million Man March anniversary, 20 years is 10/10. Everything is coming back around. It's called a law of reciprocity.
All right.
You can't escape the natural laws that govern this world.
Yes, sir.
So are we scared? No, we ain't scared. God is my bodyguard.
All right.
They may have taken his larynx, they may have taken his tongue, but they didn't take his voice.
Yes, sir.
And that's a fact. I've been sick all week. No matter what, I was not going to miss this march. I got to stop yelling because, like I said, I run my mouth for a living. But repeat after me. I am. Kendrick Johnson. I am. Kendrick Johnson. His brain is gone, but his mind is what?
Still here.
Still here. Say not. His heart is gone, but his spirit is what? His voice, his tongue is gone, but his voice is what? Rest in peace, KJ.
All right. All right. All right.
That's very deep. The brain is gone, but his memory is still here.
Always mine.
In order to fight this kind of battle, you need activists, but you also need brilliant legal minds. The civil rights movement was not just one on the streets, it was also one in the courtroom as well. It was also one through legislation as well. One of those brilliant legal minds happens to be a very good friend of mine, and I see him and his staff more than any other firm fighting on behalf of our people. Some folks run their mouth, other folks show up. Brother Attorney Davis, could you please step to the microphone?
All right. All right. All right.
Power to the people.
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 I'm not here as an attorney. I'm here as a father.
Sir.
To stand with another father. To stand with some parents. The most powerful thing that we have been able to witness is the resistance and the fortitude of this family. There should be an inspiration to all of us. See, we're here and we're able to go back home and deal with our loved ones, and they live every single day with the reality that their son isn't gonna walk back through that door. Yet they continue to stand, they continue to organize, they continue to inspire us. And so I just want us, for a minute, to just think about the power of this family and their unwillingness to just let it go. Because we've had families like this before. Y'all might remember a young man by the name of Emmett Till. He had a mama who wouldn't let it go, who decided she had to open up the casket. We've got a mother out of Union City by the name of Frida Waiters, whose son in 2011 was shot in the back twice by Luther Lewis. And she wouldn't let it go, and now they're having to open up another investigation. So we have a long history of parents who wouldn't let it go, and then activists and community gathering around and joining into that struggle and that changing and transforming a country. And so the work that's being done here, this family standing here over and over again, day by day. I had a case here that I had to come in federal court before I met him. And when I came down to court, I saw some folk holding up a sign, just two people.
Yes, sir.
Not 200, two people.
Yes, sir.
Standing there holding up a sign, and I said, oh my God, this must be the family. I'm on my way into court to conduct my business, but you never know who just walked past here that you may have inspired to become an activist. You never know what parent may join this work after they come out of this graduation. You never know how you can impact somebody just by being present. And so when we drove from Atlanta, and I just want to acknowledge Sister Nana, our Director of Operations, and Tatiana Lima, a law student, and Brother Rashid, our investigator. When we drove from Atlanta, we came hoping that we would be able to contribute, but we will go back more inspired than we came because of this family and their willingness to stand and resist.
That's right.
And so please, y'all, keep praying for them, but keep being present for them.
Yes, sir.
Brother Marcus Coleman has stood tall like a warrior. I remember we were at the state capitol.
Yes.
How many of y'all were at the state capitol?
Yes.
Just a handful. Brother Marcus has stood tall, had continued to stand with this family when other folks say, man, why you still standing?
Yes, sir.
And I'm proud of this brother. I'm proud of his resistance. He's got a family at home, but he's here with this family.
All right.
So that says we got to be willing to sacrifice. Because Nick Thomas's mother, Felicia Thomas, reminds us, and I'm going to get off the mic with this. She reminds us this, that it could be you. If it can happen to me, it can happen to you. That's what she says repeatedly. If it can happen to me. I send my kids to school every day, to a high school, believing that they're going to go to that high school and come back safely. Every day. We have that kind of faith and belief in our educational system. And somehow it has failed here for this family. And so if it happened to them, it can happen to us. And that's why it's important for us to be present, to be vigilant. Don't be hopeful, be vigilant.
Yes.
Hoping is hoping. Being vigilant is to be engaged. Being vigilant is to be here. Being vigilant is to take all of this information, take your photographs, take your Facebook, and share it, and let the world know that still yet among us, there are those that are willing to resist. In spite of it all. All of y'all heard all kinds of threats.
That's right.
Y'all knew coming down here you weren't going to be going down into the center of Atlanta.
You weren't worried about
right?
it.
But you weren't worried about it. Or if you were worried about it, somebody encouraged you to come on and let's go anyway. That's the kind of courage that we have to have in order to win. And we say, in Swahili, we say, Pamoja tutashinde, Pamoja tutashinde. Together we will win. Together we will win. Power to the people.
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 That's what I'm talking about.
They're probably passing out. Give it up for Attorney Davis, please.
All right. All right.
Mr. Mrs. Johnson, they're probably passing out diplomas right about now. Everybody clapping, all the names are being called. I ask you again, will I request something that was outlandish? Will I request something that was outlandish? No. Was it wrong for us to ask for KJ?
No.
Was it wrong for us to say that KJ's spirit, KJ's memory should go right in there with his classmates? No. The sad thing about it is there are many of his classmates that would have enjoyed and would have cheered once KJ's name was called. They're going against the spirit of the people. I want to take the time to acknowledge some comrades that I have, that we have. And I'm going to bring one to the microphone that doesn't look like you and I. They say that this is just a black movement. They say that the Johnson family is only stirring up trouble. They say things such as, read the paper, nobody cares about your dead child. They say things like, I once supported you, but now I could give a damn about your dead child because you're willing just to take the $10,000. I mean, these are actual comments. Hey, Mr. Coleman, maybe if KJ wouldn't have been getting high and fell into the mat, he would be here to graduate. This is the psychology. This is the sick, vile, deplorable comments that you don't hear about. So I'm glad that my comrades, my white brothers who are here today, see, because I don't care what color you are as long as you're standing with me on the right side of right.
Yes. Right.
All right.
Yes.
Tim Franzen, please touch this microphone, sir.
All right, Brother Tim. Brother Tim.
Thank you, Marcus. I first off want to acknowledge that, you know, the obvious, what everybody here knows, that if Kendrick Johnson looked like me, he might not have died in the first place. And we wouldn't be here today. We'd be inside, celebrating a moment of silence, memorialize this young man whose life was stolen too soon. I'm going to be brief, but I have a lot of mixed emotions today. You know, it angers me to be here. This, coming into Valdosta and seeing the police presence, we counted 60 cars, marked cars. This is a crisis of economic priority. The amount of resources to police us today, imagine they'd be used to investigate the murder of this young man.
All right! Tell it! Tell it!
The fact that we're standing in a free speech zone. I thought that the whole country was a free speech zone.
Wow.
Why do we have to have a fenced off, cordoned off area? This is shameful.
Shameful!
This is a crisis of priority. Right. So, and first and foremost, I feel sorrow for the family. Our destinies are linked together. And we simply can't afford to live in a society where one group of people, based on their skin, are treated differently. And that's just the reality. And you know, it's a long, hard road that we have ahead of us. But you know, I appreciate the statements made by Brother Beasley, my mentor, about white privilege. We got to call it out. And there's not enough white folks here today. And I know I'm preaching the choir with those that are already here, but it's our duty to call out white privilege where it exists in our spaces. At the family dinner, at Thanksgiving, at the Super Bowl party, on social media with our friends. It's our job to call it out. And so I'm sorry that I'm here today. I'm angry and I'm pissed off, and I'm going to keep fighting with y'all.
All right!
Yes, this is the Ghetto Free Press, and education is a powerful tool. That is, if you get education. You see, you can get miseducation. Yes, you can get a miseducation. You can get a reverse education. You can get an education that looks good, but it serves little purpose in the real world. So the question is, what is real education? If an education will only be good for you and what you alone can acquire in your lifetime, is that education? Or is that indoctrination? For real education will pull out or make come out of an individual the best that God implanted within that human being. Will education make you kill one another for the sake of $1? Will real education make you think about self and self alone? Will education make you feel that you are better, superior than everybody else? So what is a real education? I think people the world over are trying to discover what is a real education. What will make a person strive for excellence when he himself or herself may never reach what they would call the richest of the rich, or the most successful of the successful, but yet they have something to offer the least of these life sources on this planet. What is education?